If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Elite Publishing Podcast. We're so glad you're here. We are bringing you another wonderful author, one of my favorite authors of all time, JT Mestdagh. And he's not written just one book, but he's written 3 books. He's going to tell you a little bit about his backstory because he tells it so well. And we're going to do a deep dive into his books, his publishing experience, and what his books have done for him. So JT, thanks for coming today.
Melanie, Jen, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share a little bit of my story and my story with you guys too. It's been a fun journey for sure.
Awesome. Well, JT, tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to become an author.
Yeah. So my story starts at birth. I was born with something called Vectorial Syndrome, and it's a birth defect that affects lots of aspects of your body. And for me, the different challenges that I was born with was what they call tracheoesophageal fistulas. And so these are like endless pathways that are throughout your esophagus and they don't connect to anything. And so at birth, my parents and the doctors did not know that I'd be born with this. And it was something that was a surprise, but we learned quickly, and the doctors were amazing, from taking care of the esophageal issues, as well as from there, I had a colostomy for the first few years of my life and many other GI surgeries as well. And so with that, I've had about 16 operations since birth, and I spent 200 some days in the hospital to undergo different surgeries and treatment on my lower intestines and GI system. And then I had what they call tethered spinal cord later on as I continued to grow, and Vectorial Syndrome, the different aspects of it. Eventually the tethered spinal cord came around, which is where your spinal cord attaches to your sacrum nerves. And so as you're growing, it's like a rubber band that just keeps getting tighter and tighter and pulling on it. And so I had that repaired in middle school and high school. And thanks to the good Lord and the surgeons and individuals he's put in my life, that was a success. So I guess, with my journey and my story, one thing that I learned is that, I have these different medical challenges, and I also had some education challenges along the way with dyslexia and struggles with reading and writing. So I always joke, I'm the dyslexic kid that wrote a book. and so from there, with these different challenges, I wanted to learn more about my story early on, and I wanted to share that story. And I think one of the most important things for all of us is the fact that we all have a story that we're writing each and every day. And it's important that we get that story out and share it. And so that's a little bit of my background and my journey.
I love that. You have quite an amazing story. And when we met you, you were just getting ready to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Do you remember that? When you were working on Untethered.
That's right. And with Untether, that whole project was so fun because, we took with you guys, we took this medical journey and this education journey, but we showed how in life with these challenges, we can set goals and achieve those goals. And so climbing Kilimanjaro was in the forefront of the book. It was very important that I had an adventure that I could set a goal and accomplish. And so during that publishing process, I was going to climb Kilimanjaro, and then from there accomplished that and was able to put it all into Untether.
Yeah. And now, what was your goal in mind? Like, you knew you wanted to write a book to help other people with your story, because a lot of people may even have your syndrome, and even people who have other disabilities, you knew that it was going to help. But did you know you wanted to start speaking when you had the book? Was that in the back of your head?
So let me back up a little. So when I was in college and I decided my junior year that I wanted to do the research on my medical background and all this stuff and just ask doctors questions. And so I started doing that process. And then from there, friends and family were like, JT, you've done all this research and you've put stuff aside here that you've learned, you should put it into a book. And so that's when that process started, was my senior year of college. And from there, the book evolved and came about. And thanks to you guys and Elite Online Publishing for putting it together into book form, that was so exciting. But then out of college, I had a job. I had another passion of mine is boating, and I had a job in marine propulsion, sales and propulsion systems. And I was chasing that dream as well. But what I found was that I had this love for being able to try to give back with the books and with the foundation that I had started. And as the book came out, I started to get pulled from my work and was asked to speak at different events and schools and churches and businesses as well. And so while doing that, I found that, you know what, I found something that I want to pursue, and that's to be able to try to at least one life. That was my goal, and to continue to do that through my story and others.
That's awesome. And I remember, one thing I really like about you, JT, is you're always doing things like ahead of what other people are doing. So I remember when we were writing Untether and you were going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, you were like, well, on the website, I want to put like a tracker and people can track my journey and know exactly where I am at the moment of when I'm hiking. I thought that was the coolest thing, because it's such a journey to get to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, and you wanted people to see you in real time. And I really love that you had that, that cutting edge technology of the GPS thing, because I didn't even know you could do something like that, so it was really cool.
Well, thanks to you, we got it quickly embedded into the website and up and running. It worked out awesome. I know lots of people enjoyed following along.
Mm-hmm. So you were talking earlier about why you wrote the book. What were you hoping when you were writing Untethered? What were you hoping that readers would get from reading the book?
Yeah. So my goal was the fact that, with Untether, I think the biggest thing I learned with writing that book was the fact that we all do have a story, and we can all make an impact with our story, and doing that through, I always say, like, opening up to others is so important, and with people you trust. And Untether shows that throughout the first, bit of the story of overcoming dyslexia and the medical and being in school, and being in a school environment as a child and going through these different things. It was apparent that there was things different with me, and kids knew that. But the fact that I was able to show them by telling them what was going on in my life, that, they could trust me with, their challenges as well. And for that, we could all get through life together. And I created amazing friendships with that. But I think with Untether, it was just a culmination of what I continued to learn of being able to help others through the challenges that we have to overcome in life.
So you had this great experience of writing Untethered and started getting media attention because of the book and wanting you to speak. And you're like, wow, this is another way for me to really help people. And so then you decided to write a second book, No Bad Days.
Yeah.
So tell us why you decided to write the second book and how that has changed even your speaking career and opened other doors for you, and what's happened because of that.
Yeah. So Untether is a life memoir, and I absolutely love the book. It, for me, it's been something that I can look back on and have so many memories. But Untether turned into saying, what's one of the stories in Untether? And one of the stories in Untether is about my dad coming into my hospital room when I was undergoing back surgery. And he said, JT, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. And I said, Dad, it's okay. I turned to him, I said, Dad, it's okay. There are no bad days. There's only hard days, but we get through them. So that became kind of like a life motto of my family.
Yeah.
And so when Untether came out and it was now chasing the speaking career and doing more with that and the foundation, I said, I want to be able to have another book that relates to other individual stories and sort of takes away or shows these different life stories and lessons that have been learned and throughout other people's lives and how they've overcome hardship, from whether it's also medical or if it's business related or family related, and how their journey has shaped their life and what they have learned. Because all the stories have a positive ending, with the fact that they have come through those challenges.
Mhm.
I want to talk to you about, we've talked that you've had extreme dyslexia and you wrote a book. So you're like, hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Tell us,
Exactly.
what were some of your secrets and what was your process in actually writing the book and getting the content onto pages?
Yeah. So the process with writing Untether was, first off, voice recording. I like you guys all know, with being dyslexic, the writing does not come easy. So I recorded it and I took these stories down, and with that we made sticky notes and basically lined a room with sticky notes and different stories that we, might include in the book and might not include. And from there, we had our room full of stories. And from there, I had a ghostwriter. And the ghostwriter was an amazing process, because the individual that I got to work with, she's just an incredible person that took my um, thoughts and my voice and put it into a book.
Mhm.
And then from there, the process continued to be amazing. And that was because we came across Elite Online Publishing, and the journey with you guys has been so fun, because every step of the way was fun. It was a enjoyable time of seeing how this book could come to life. I mean, I remember working with Jen on the cover design and just playing around with so many different ideas and mapping out this adventurous, it's honestly an adventurous book.
Mhm.
Even though there's some challenges in there, it's all about adventure.
Yeah. And how long do you think it took you from the moment you started like recording it to us and having it published? How long do you think that
Yeah,
was?
I'd say for sure 2 years,
Mhm.
but I was in college and,
Mhm.
my focus was different, but I still
Mhm.
had a goal of putting this together. So it was probably a 2-year process.
Yeah. With no bad days, do you feel like it went faster, or was it the same process, or
Yeah,
how did you do that book?
no, much faster. I had, I think because I was done with school and I had, a goal of like, okay, this book comes out and pushes it to being like a business card, it gets me into
Mhm.
more
Yeah.
speaking engagements and allows for more opportunity, especially with 2 books
Mhm.
and stuff. So it was a much faster process. I think it took just under a year almost, was the
Mhm.
Yeah.
the from start to finish.
And
Yeah.
let's not forget you have a children's book out too.
I
How the
do.
Sailfish Got Its
So
Name.
Yeah, tell
how
us
the
about
sailfish
that.
got its name. This book, it was so fun to put together because I actually wrote this when I was 7 years old. And so I guess when I was young and I had dyslexia, I still knew I was going to be writing books because
Mhm.
it started early on. With my medical stuff, I would spend time I have to do a bowel management program every day. And so with that, I spent a lot of time sitting, and so my it was sort of a time where I could be creative. And so as a child, I would do different drawings and play around with that. And so I wrote out this whole book. I wrote out many books, but especially the sailfish one was a fun one because of my passion for boating and fishing. But I drew them all out. And then with my mom's help, I would tell her the words and she'd write them. So, and then we basically took that book and had an artist, Aaron Graham and Michelle, recreate the artwork. And from there, we were able to put together a really fun children's book project.
And how you've been able to promote your children's books. Children's books are a little harder to promote and sell than when you're speaking. So that book is just so cute. I love that.
So the process with selling this book, with my foundation, the JT Mestdagh Foundation, what we did was this book was strictly for the foundation, and the foundation has sort of 3 main pillars, and the pillars are First and foremost is medical, and giving back to children with medical challenges, that acquiring medical supplies is the main goal there, as well as Ronald McDonald Houses as for the night stay program. And then another pillar is the education and dyslexia, and the TADM reading program is what has helped me through those struggles. So the foundation gives to that as well, for teachers to be trained in the program. And then the third pillar is the faith side of things, and that's an important part of my life. And so we've given back to Young Life. But when it comes to this book, How the Sailfish Got Its Name was a way for us to promote the foundation, and every dollar that comes from this book goes to the foundation. And so we've been able to promote it through the foundation and social media, and lots of fun little speaking engagements, as well as some awesome awards that Jen has helped me acquire as well. So we've put the book into a few different programs to see what we can take away from that. And we've done good.
Yeah, I think your cover got an award, and then you also got a favorites choice or something like that, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with the children's book as far as tours and the things you were just saying. You were in Illinois. Tell us about that.
yeah, so the public speaking side of things, I was just in Illinois sharing my story at Culver Academy. And so what I do is I go, to a lot of schools and businesses and share the journey of my life, I guess. And with that, the past week, I was also in Nashville doing the same thing, but I was also promoting How the Sailfish Got Its Name. I had an awesome publicity week and running around there with different news channels and things. But what we were also there for was the foundation. And so I was able to be at the Ryan Seacrest Studios, which is throughout the country at different children's hospitals. And so at that studio, we were able to read the book, How the Sailfish Got Its Name, to all the kids. It's broadcast throughout the whole hospital, and then also students or patients that were in the studio with us. And so it was a really awesome experience. I always say being in a children's hospital is one of the most rewarding things, just being able to see children that are struggling and how they put their best foot forward with a smile on, and going through all that discomfort and everything is incredible. And so to be able to be there and to spend a little time with them was so fun.
So your books have really started a whole career that you weren't even expecting to have. You were going into the marina, and that was going to be your career. And because of your book, you started a whole speaking career. About how often a month are you speaking, JT?
Yeah, so I speak, it comes in different phases, but right now is the school phase for sure with the spring. And so I speak probably to 6 or 7 different schools. And then I do a lot of online stuff too, and being able to do from podcasts, but to also to meeting with the other classrooms and things like that through the computer. So, and then the whole foundation side of being able to go around and read the children's book to individuals has been really cool too.
So helping your foundation and started a whole new career for you.
Yeah. And so the career side of it has been awesome. I mean, I think, there's a reason for things to happen in your life, and the good Lord definitely has steered me in a direction that I didn't expect, but it's been really fun.
Yeah. What would you say surprised you the most about being a published author? What do you think
I
surprised you
think,
the most?
with Untether, with that book coming out, what surprised me the most was the fact that how many people enjoyed, reading it and being able to come to me and share what is going on in their life has been really cool. But also to meet other authors. I've had the opportunity to, meet with other people and work with other people on the speaking side of things as well, and that are authors and have been able to show their story through books as well.
So would you recommend someone who's thinking about writing a book, would you recommend them to do it?
Yeah, I think that whatever form you put a book into, I think that if I would not have published the book, I definitely wouldn't be where I am now in doing the things that I am and enjoying the things I'm doing. But even just recording those stories and recording whatever that book is that you want to write, is so important because you don't know who you can impact, and you learn a lot along the journey too. I think that's a very important part of it too.
Didn't you learn a lot? Like just going through the writing process is like a self-discovery process.
It
Do you do
is.
that?
Yeah, and especially for me,
Yeah.
because that was a challenge in itself. But I definitely grew in my reading, and honestly, like
Yeah.
from the start, I did a lot of reading, and so all that improved in my life. But then the discovery side of things too was a huge part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you'd give your readers? What would you give them?
my readers.
Mhm.
We've been talking about story a lot, so obviously sharing your story, but another thing is is uh learning to fall. We're all going to have a challenge, whether that's writing a book and in the process of that, and in the fact that you'll have hiccups along the way, but taking that, what you've learned from that, and growing from it. And so I think that the best advice that I can give you is to write down your story and to be able to share it with others.
I love that. JT, tell everyone where they can find you, your website, and where else they can connect with you.
Yeah. So jtjester.com is where you can find pretty much everything from foundation side of things to the books. And then also JT Jester speaks on all social media platforms.
And tell us about your podcast so they can go listen.
Yeah. So I have a YouTube channel that I put out podcasts and different videos as well. And so right now we've been doing a series of breath work videos and meditation. And some of them are faith-based and some of them are just to get out there and to focus on what's important in your life. And so we've been doing a series of those once a week. We put out a video, and that is all on JT Jester Speaks on YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks, JT. We really appreciate you coming and sharing your story with us, and especially the story of success that your books have brought you. Just so happy to see you again.
Well, thanks for putting my story into a book. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Well, that's it for us today. If you're looking to publish a book and becoming a best-selling author, reach out to us at Elite Online Publishing and hit that author submission button. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, JT.
Thank you so much.
If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.